I'm sorry. I just.
And I think we are live now. Yes, we are live.
And in the Milky
Way. And welcome to another day in the Milky Way, believe it or not.
Yeehaw!
Oh, man. Tell you what, we make it one way or the other. Sometimes it's a little bit slow, and sometimes I got to shut that off.
Echo.
Yeah, I don't want that up. Oh man, that just pollutes the voices and stuff. But anyway, we're rocking and rolling tonight. So welcome everybody, and tonight we're going to do another Native American myths and legends. And see, David, I tell you, when I said that if we do it, people will come, and they just showed up. They're starting to show up already. Chloe's in the house. Travis the Brick's in the house. Dominic the Elite Sapito is in the house. Cheers, he says. Yes. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to find me a good background that I had for the thing, and now I can't find it. It was kind of short notice on everything, but hey, we're here and we're doing our thing, because you know what? We like to do our thing, don't we?
Is that being selfish? But here's the thing: we like to do it in hopes that folks will listen and that they will like it. But you know.
Yes.
But it is a little selfish, isn't it, Robert? We
sometimes
like doing it, so it's like but we like doing it as a gift to you all.
Yes.
And greetings and blessings to all y'all. I figured this would be a good place to start that, right? But greetings and blessings to all of you. And I hope that everyone is doing well. And I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And so with these stories that we are going to read, discuss, and things, we're hoping that the elders will speak to us through the stories and will inspire you in some way. How about that for a beginning?
I like it. I really do. There, that one's better. It was a little more color. The other black and white ones just.
I know. I kind of like that though. Go back to that last one though.
The last one. I
like that one.
You did? Okay. Okay, I'll go back to the last one. There we go.
Yeah, but see, that's that shows, you know, how old the picture is. You know what I mean? You can kind of imagine the colors, but the proud face, if you will, you know what I mean, in heritage.
Yep. The heritage, yes.
And the beads and the necklace, and you know, and everything had a symbol, if you will. Everything meant something, you know.
Yes, it did. It did. Well, maybe that's. I don't know if it's better if I got 2 in one or none in one. I got
that looks good right there.
There, that looks good. I think I got it figured out now. If I get too many shadows, then I don't come in. And if I get not enough shadows, then
but see, that looks natural right there. If you put too much on it, your face is too bright.
Yeah.
It's washed out. So
because if I have this, and then I kind of got to have a little light on that side for it to come.
Yeah, but you've got natural color showing. Your cheeks are nice and rosy.
It depends on if I sit farther back or where I sit too.
Right.
You know,
right.
Or sometimes I got this microphone thing in the way, and that blocks some of the other light I got. So it's all right. Oh, we got people piling in. We got organic intelligence. We got Susie Q is in the house, and Chloe. Last night I had Chloe had an owl fly over her car last night, really low by the driver's window. Then about 3 hours later, I could hear an owl by the front of my trailer. Hooing. There's got to be something. There's got to be something said about the owl.
Yes, the messenger.
He's a messenger. Chloe, what was that owl telling you? I don't know. Did you know that owls and UFOs have a connection?
Yep.
And if you see an owl, that you should be looking around for that UFO. So anyway, there you go, Chloe. Maybe the owl was trying to tell you something. And there's David Castles in the house, and Zigzagzilla. And this Thursday, me and Zigzagzilla are having a show on Thursday about your health. And we got some new books. I got this book, and we got another book. Oh, I don't know if I got it here. But anyway, I got a bunch of health books, and we're going to talk about plants, and we're going to talk about your health. We're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff from the inside out and outside in. How about that?
Let me add something about the owl, though. The owl might not be the message, might not have the message. Owls just say there is a message coming, or something is coming. So there are many tribes who would consider the owl the harbinger of, doom or gloom or something, but that's not always true. So owl can be bringing you to warn you, or for you to be alert. Not necessary. If you weren't alert, you might miss something that's actually good for you. You know what I mean? So, but there are a lot of messages that come, and not all of them are bad. Bad. As we sheepishly think about this.
Yeah.
Oh, that was shameful.
Chloe says that's interesting because she had a dream once she was abducted by aliens. Maybe that dream wasn't so far off, and because obviously you would have it as a dream and you wouldn't remember if you were or not. So maybe that owl was a thing that who knows, maybe did you miss any time that day when you seen the owl? That's all I can say. That's the only thing you can judge anything on, because they'll wipe your mind and then you won't know. So
owl usually doesn't show up after the fact.
Yeah, it's before.
It's a before. So if you see the owl, it's gonna come. It's not that it has come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's a thought. It's a thought. And Elderberry's in the house. Hey,
Elderberry.
And we got who else? Travis the Brick guy says, I missed somebody. I know I missed somebody here. Open Thinkum. Hello to all. Yes. Love the right knowledge. And that's what we're all about. We're going to do some history first and then some myths and stuff. And I got a good one picked out tonight. And this is called The People. Can you see the People of Dreams? There you go. The People of Dreams. I
wish I had a do like that.
Well, you got enough hair. You probably could.
That's true. I mean, it's my hair has gotten really long over the last few years. I mean, it's like down, getting close to my navel.
Oh, wow. Chloe really had one. I'm sure it doesn't help much that I was looking down from my ceiling and I could see my body laying asleep in the bed. Well, maybe you were astral traveling or astral projecting or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a thing too. I'm going to get some guy on. I hope I just sent some emails out to a guy who does astral travel, and hopefully he'll come on and indulge us with his astral traveling skills and knowledge and enlighten us all. That would be awesome. I got on the 11th, I got a really good one. I just lined up, and I'll put the trailer out. So I'm going to keep you all in suspense, but I'll just say Star Seeds. And then, and I'll put the trailer out in the next couple of days, and then you guys will all be amazed because this gal is quite the guest. She's gonna tell you all about being a star seed. So there you go. This is gonna be awesome. We got some really cool people lined up in the future here. Chloe says, Hawkeye, you should braid your hair with 2 feathers. That's probably an idea.
I don't know how to braid. I can't do it.
And that's why when you get your hair braided, a woman knows how to braid a hair. Oh, okay. Well, enough of me. Oh, Michelle Can-Am Free is here. I love you all, she says. Well, we love you too, Michelle. Thank you for coming. We couldn't do this night without you. Well, anyway, let's get right down to the brick and tacks of things. And I'll start reading this. This is a really good one because I don't want to waste much time on this because it's kind of long, but it's very interesting. It tells you a really good thing about, it's about the horses. Like last time we were talking about the horses, and this was kind of on the same concept, but it's more in depth. So here we go.
And as a prelude, remember that from our past discussions of horse, that Native Americans, this was one of the medicines that was brought to America because horses weren't here. And that to the shamans, the horses brought flight. Because on the back of a horse, it's the closest thing to flying anyway, but to the point though, and the horse is power. It is a power sign. So just wanted to put that in there as to, remember what horse represents up to this point, what we've talked about. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's no. That's exactly right. And this is what it kind of preludes up to, because I found the part where it talks about them actually bringing the horses. So this is it. Beyond the Spanish frontier in northern Mexico, in the year 1594, the chief of a village of Lagueros Indians rode out on horseback to welcome their venturesome Jesuit, the first missionary in those parts. The exploring padre duly reported his cordial reception, no wise making anything remarkable of the mounted chief. Obviously, there was nothing extraordinary about wild Indians owning and riding horses. And yet this was only 75 years after Cortez had landed the first 10 stallions, 5 mares, and a foal, who were the first Spanish horses to appear in horseless North America. The prehistoric horse was born in North America, or in the Americas, many millions of years ago, but for some reason became extinct in the New World at the close of the Ice Age. However, horses had long before spread to the Old World, no doubt across the occasional Siberian land bridge. Thus, the horses brought by the Spaniards to the New World were fairly literally coming back to home. Perhaps they knew it. In any case, they went forth and multiplied at an astonishing rate. For horseless South America, the principal early center of distribution was Peru, where horses arrived in 1532, and by 1535 they had entered the horse heaven that is modern Argentina. By 1600, they were streaming over the Argentine pampas in herds too vast to count. The varying people there and in the rolling sub-covered country adjoining on the north, known as the Charo, became intense horsemen and utterly revolutionized the ways of their world in the process. In North America, the horse frontier jumped to northern New Mexico, to the heel of the Rockies, where the Onates colonists drove up thousands of heads of assorted livestock in 1598. The Santa Fe County or country remained for generations the chief dispersal point for the American horse. Spanish officials now and then made efforts to enforce security regulations against letting Indians learn the use of horses, but the majorities of ranches and missions had to reply that there were only Indians available to work as valeros. The Indians learned the secret plans of the manipulation of their ultimate weapon, the horse. Must have been stolen many times over by amateur Indian secret agents. And having learned, Indians stole horses by the bunch, by the herd, by the multitude, from the huge ranches of Chihuahua and New Mexico. The Pueblo Revolt of 1680 threw all the horses in New Mexico on the open Indian market for dozens of years. And from this point on, the horse frontier left the white frontier years behind. Bartered or stolen from band to band, ridden on terrorizing raids that covered 500 miles or more, galloped into hither unknown lands on wonderfully lucrative hunting trips. Driven in herds to distant nations by Indian merchants, horses fanned out over the west, their hoofbeats a flourish of drums announcing a marvelous new life. The sun-cracked wastes of Utah and Nevada were too poor to graze and water for a man to keep a horse, but the Ute people of the Rockies western slopes took 2 horses and passed them along unintentionally, of course. And by the 1690s, horses were being introduced among the northern Shoshone of Wyoming by someone spies or tradesmen or exiles from horse-owning tribes who could teach the mysteries of their management. And now the Shoshone wore feathers tied in their flying tails, and the Shoshone bowmen on their backs of horses trotted eastward out of the mountains to sweep across the high plains, the seemingly endless plains that stretch from the Rockies to the Mississippi Valley, prairies in pursuit of the antelope, the buffalo, and the constant Shoshone foes, the bold-hearted people of the northern plains known as the Blackfeet. Intrepid or not, the trudging foot people of the plains were thrown into panic by enemies transformed into centaurs 9 feet tall who could dash upon their victims with the speed of the screaming wind. Mounted Shoshones were attacking the Blackfeet by 1730, according to the best recollection of an aged Blackfoot. More than half a century later, the Blackfeet asked for help from Crees and Assiniboines to their east, who came and defeated the Shoshone war party with the aid of other fantastic new weapon, the gun. The horse frontier moving in from the south and west, and the gun frontier advancing from the east, met on the Great Plains in a spectacular clash, created the figure that has obsessed the world ever since as the archetype of American Indian. The feather streaming, buffalo chasing, wild riding, recklessly fighting Indian of the plains. This figure, shaped by the European's horse and the gun, decorated from war bonnet band to moccasins with the European's beads, only reached full glory when the real Indian world was all but a memory. The Plains Indians was a last flowering of the ancient cultures already vanished or in ruins over most of the hemisphere. He was less sheer Indian than almost any of his predecessors down through the ages of Indian history, from the Proto-Olmecs and the Mayas to the Crees and the Iroquois. But in some other respects, the Plains Indians is an excellent chance choice as the Indian symbol. In his exaggerated world, he intensified a whole plethora of more specialized Indian colors common to some previous Indian societies, although by no means at all warrior societies and elaborate codes of combat, fear of sex and grief for the dead, and emotional excess deriving from both sacred objects and sacred rites, deriving from dreams and inspired visions, and the omnipresent sacred power to be sought in dreams and inspired visions. In all these respects and many more, the Plains Indians was the Indian carried to extremes. Finally, the boundless land in which he lived, confined only by the wide and starry sky, gave obvious emphasis to the pervasive notion of Indian freedom. These modern Plains Indians sprang from several different roots, from farmers and hunters who had lived on the plains and their margins of unfolded centuries, as well as from the diverse tribes and nations who poured into the plains, and from the stormed fronts of the horse and the gun. Well, there you go. Wasn't that exciting? All because of the horse and then the gun. It turned out the horse and the gun, you put it together and you got a Western. There, that's a pun. Anyway. What'd you think of that?
Very interesting in that, in our readings of, the power that horse brings in so many different ways, the fact that it brought travel easier, they were able to have larger teepees, They were able to have, more lodge poles. They were able to carry the sick and the aged, and they were able to move more easily and more rapidly and to greater distances, greater hunting grounds. So it improved their lives, tremendously, without them really paying any attention. It just one day the horses were there and somebody showed them how to ride them, and they were like, oh, this is like great.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's exactly it.
In modern terms, it would be like a farmer, having a mule and a plow and getting a tractor. I mean, it would be that. What you mean? I can plow this whole place in like a couple of hours instead of 2 days? Oh,
Yeah, it just advanced everything so fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So here's a picture. I guess you'd all like to see that. There they are with their horses, let's see, there we go. Fighters of the plains. Yeah, because that was the combination in the middle of the plains is where they all kind of met with the guns and the Indian, the horses, because they were coming from both sides, and yeah, that changed everything. Like it said, it was the last their culture was dying and changing all at the same time.
Well, not only that, but I mean, to not leave out the North American natives, but also in Argentina, the horses, and the cattle raising and what it did. I mean, I can't remember the name of the Argentinian horsemen, but
the Valeros, wasn't it? The Valeros or Comancheros or
Comancheros or something, but yeah, but to that point, even in Mexico, them guys could ride, dude, but in Argentina and in Peru and, but oh my gosh, it wasn't just the North American natives, it was the natives from the, North and South, but yeah, it made big changes. Yes.
Big changes. Okay, I'll read that caption under that picture I just showed you. It said, in the Indian white conflict that raged across the West following the Civil War. See, we don't put a lot of that together. We think the Civil War was like the separate time, but all of this was all going on at the same time. It was all at pretty much the same time. Following the Civil War, many natives rose to prominence as patriotic leaders of their people. Some were hereditary chiefs, others were warriors whose courage and valorous deeds thrust leadership upon them. Still others were medicine men with whose visions and spiritual powers were as important to the Indians as bravery in battle. To the whites, all were enemies to be pursued, defeated, and humbled. But to their people, they were heroes. Their portraits on the following pages reflect the impeccable hostility, strength, and self-respect of Indians who fought with pride to the end. So anyway, there you go.
Yep.
So yeah, very interesting. I thought that was really cool. How the horse had influenced them. You're right. It helped them. They flew like the wind. They took pride in their horses. Like you said, it was like a guy with a mule and a plow with a tractor. I remember my grandma telling me, she says, yeah, when your grandpa got that first tractor, got rid of the two horses and that plowed it, he went with the tractor. He hated them horses. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's what's going on. I see Isby's in the house. I want to give a big shout out to Isby. Hey, how you doing? Haven't seen him in a while. Nice to see you here tonight. Oh, okay. I got another one here, but that one's kind of long too. It talks about it's about the Apaches, and if you want to go back to 1770, we think on 1776, and we talk about what was the 4th of what is the 4th of July 1776? Anybody know? You know what the 4th of July 1776 means? That's for you, David.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking like the group.
No, I'm asking you too. July 4th, 1776 is what?
Independence Day.
That's right. But here it says on the 4th of July, 1770. See, we don't even put a lot of this together because this stuff was going on already way back in 1776 when, you know, we just thought that there was a few colonists on the side trying to fight the king, you know. Here on the 4th of July, I'm only going to read a little bit of this. I might skip a few beats on this. On the 4th of July, 1776, a Spanish priest sat beside his saddle in the plaza of an ancient Arabi. I'm going to mispronounce a few of these things because these are names that I'm not familiar with. Arabi, the principal Hopi Pueblo. He had been sitting there for 2 days, but no one had spoken to him except 3 traveling salesmen from Zunti, and they had been fearful about it. The Wallapai guides who had brought him had taken fright and disappeared. The Hopis were patient and peaceful people, but they had not wanted Spaniards among them since they had killed their missionary priest nearly a century before. The priest was patient and too, and he wanted very much to make peace with the Mokus, as he called them, using the name most people in the Southwest gave to the Hopis. During the day of the 4th of July, the people in town stopped ignoring the priest and gathered in a crowd and watched him. Then 4 chief men came and told him to go away instantly. He made his mule was brought and he went away. He had expected to be killed when the crowd gathered, but the Hopis, who were connoisseurs of endurance, may have been impressed by his 2 days of long sitting there in silence beside his saddle. The priest was Fray Francisco Garcias of a Franciscan, one of the foremost of North American explorers, sometimes alone, but most often with a single companion, a lower California Indian named Tarball. He had opened the roads across the desert and the mountains and the canyons to nearly every place a New Spain citizen in the 1770s might want to go to the Southwest. Said another priest to him, Father Garcias appears to be but an Indian himself. He sits with them in the circle or at night around the fire with his legs crossed, talking with them with much sincerity and deliberation. And although the foods of the Indians are nasty and dirty as those outlandish people themselves, the father eats them with great gusto and says they are good for his stomach and very fine. The road he'd wanted to open at this time was a road from Santa Fe to Upper California via some route north of the Gila River. Such a road would be more direct than the Gila, and it would be out of the constant menace of the Apaches. For the Apaches by 1776 were already an old and familiar menace. The Spanish mission frontier laboriously pushing northwards from Sonora towards what is now Arizona had been stopped in the 1650s by a loose alliance of unconvertible wild tribes dominated by the Apaches. Garcia's illustrious Jesuit predecessor, Padre Eusebio Kinko, had managed to move into the area in the 1680s and for nearly 25 years had explored the Gila, Colorado River country, founding missions and ranches among the Pimpas and the Apaches. Most obliterate her enemies, the Pimpas themselves had later given this new frontier a considerable amount of rebellion, trouble, apparently for good and sufficient cause, and the Apaches had remained predominantly hostile, a constant hindrance. A silver strike in the late 1730s in the region known as Arizonac had seemed for a time that it might ameliorate the Apache problem by establishing a strong bulwark of mining towns. This was in the Altar Valley below the present Mexican border, southwest of modern Nogales. Giant nuggets of almost pure silver were found lying on the ground, some up to 2 tons in weight. But no important lodes were discovered, and the surface workings played out within 5 years. Apacheria and the Apache country continued to be perilous end of the world. So anyway, there you go. I ain't gonna read the rest of it for now, because I figure we'll just talk about it. But anyway, the Apaches were always hostile. They kind of must have known that they're gonna just be taken over. Can you imagine finding a 2-ton block of silver just laying on the ground?
Yeah, but you know, yeah, that's a big rock, no doubt. That's a big rock, no doubt.
Yes, that would bring people. But yeah, it's amazing. These Spanish people, remember, up through that whole area from Mexico all the way up into California, that was owned by the Spanish for the longest time. And then the United States, or the Americas, the colonists, that they bought that from the French. There was the middle part was the French, and the other side was the Spanish. So, but anyway.
Yeah, California had a lot of Spanish influence,
Yes.
And, and you have to understand that there was no Panama Canal back in those days. They had to sail around the Horn of South America.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not easy to get to California by boat, and they were doing it on a regular basis. But so it was a long and arduous and perilous journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like, that was all free, open country. I can't imagine what they were,
But here's something that you mentioned now. I just have to bring this up. The Spanish owned it. No, they didn't. They conquered Mexico.
Yes.
But let's just be clear no, the Spanish didn't own it. They claimed it and said, no, it's ours, so just saying.
Because if you were an Indian and you were living there, and all of a sudden some guy comes up and sticks a flag in your yard and says, I own this.
Exactly. The back in the day when out west people were fighting for statehood, and then there were people who were going, oh no. And they're going, oh yeah, your farm's going to be a part of this state, and there was a lot of rigmarole going on back in them days, about whether or not they wanted to become a state, and because that meant that now it wasn't just open West anymore. It wasn't that and when they started bringing in fencing, there was the farmers who brought sheep and argued, and the water wars. Oh my gosh. They're still having them, but anyway,
well, there's always something on that order.
Yeah, always something. But here's the thing: the native peoples never claimed the land per se. They claimed hunting rights or their hunting areas or whatever, but they never claimed ever to own the land. They just had a territory, but this is where we live, and this is our range, and and those with horses then had a bigger range than the other folks who were still on foot.
Yeah, well, what one of the Indians said, I remember watching a show or seeing a thing, and the guy says, and he says, where's your land? And he says, wherever my feet are.
Right.
Wherever I step, that's my land.
Wherever I sit down, home is where I decided,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I've met many different Native American folks from different tribes and so forth. And, they may have a house somewhere, but they're traveling with powwows, and they're traveling in groups, and some of them are living out in the back of their cars kind of thing. And they're really roughing it, and they go, but Mother Earth provides, and, and some of these people, I think, oh my God, they're like traveling gypsies in a way. They're, but they have faith that no matter what, they're going to make it. And my hat's off to these folks. You know what I mean? Where other people are like, oh, I got to pay the rent. Oh, my electricity. These people are like living on the ground, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Totally different kind of, but their thought process is such that they're okay with it. It's not a discomfort for them. Well, it may be discomfortable, but you know, they considered, well, Mother Earth, it's cold tonight, you know, or Mother, you know, it's going to be a warm day today. Okay, dope. But they don't consider themselves, you know, being cursed, or, you know, God's out to get me or anything like that. It's like, well, Mother Earth is going to be cold tonight, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you got for us tonight? I'm all excited to hear. Yeah.
It's an interesting eclectic, you know me. I was kind of having trouble, like, just exactly, you know, what the theme for tonight would be, kind of thing. Like the last couple of times but for those of you who were tuned in last week, you know, when we got together, I was like, you know, Coyote's been on my mind, Coyote medicine, this, that, and the other thing. So, and he had some Coyote stuff. But after we did the show with a couple of stories about Coyote, I go up to my mailbox the next day, and Robert had purchased a book for me, and it was Coyote medicine. So in all of this, where Coyote was in my head, he had sent me a book that arrived the day after we did the stories about Coyote. So I found that to be another interesting synchronization for those of you who are paying attention to some of this stuff we do.
Because you kept saying, I'm Coyote tonight, Coyote, 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 and I kept thinking, well, I'm doing horse. And then that's what it was. You were just seeing into the future.
Whatever it was, I had picked up on you sending me the book on Coyote medicine. Is my whole point to this. It was because I got it the next day. So, and you never mentioned that you said, hey, did you get the book? And I was like, well, I got one, but another one's coming, but you never said what it was.
Yeah.
So you never said it was going to be Coyote medicine. So when it showed up the next day, I was like, okay. So, I understand now where all this Coyote stuff was coming from. You know, it just made more sense.
So you got this book, right?
Yes.
Okay. I got this book. I got two of these books. I think I got two of these. I got two of these books. So since I ordered too many, I got this, but I'm gonna send one out to somebody, and you know. So if you are interested in Coyote medicine book, let me know. You have to send me an email and tell me why you want it, and I'll pick somebody out, and I will, you know, mail you the book. How's that? That's a good deal, don't you think, David?
In 3 sentences or less.
Well, there you go. Well, write me a page.
You know, I don't want 2 pages of why you want it. Just, you know,
why you, I feel like
be to the point, and you know, and that's okay. But
and it's a good book too. It's a hardcover book. It's got a nice dust jacket on. It is a used library book, I think, at one point or another, but it's in good shape.
Now, which one is that? Oh, the Coyote.
Yeah, Coyote medicine. There you go. So I got extra books of these, and since I got 2. I'm gonna give. I already sent you one, and we don't all need to read 3 books, so I'm gonna give one out. So if anybody would like it, send me an email. It's in the description below, and I will and give you a good reason why you want it, and I'll pick whoever, and you're gonna get a book. How about that?
Yeah, pull straws.
Yes, exactly.
Put names in the hat, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just, but you know, let me know send me an email, and then you'll have to send me your address so that I'll let you know, and then send me your address and I'll mail it out. And it's free to you. There you go. That's my give back to everybody else. My extra ordering finger hit too many buttons or something. So anyway, okay, I got this pulled up, and here we go. You said page 127. This is the Eye of the Great Spirit. Am I right?
Yes.
Ah, good deal.
Tales of the sun, moon, and the stars.
Yes.
Now we're going to go back a couple of pages, but we're going to flip to the next, go on down to the 127. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I got both my glasses on. All right. So here we go. Just as the trees, ponds, clouds, and rocks are thought of as living beings, so the sun, moon, and stars in their firmament are depicted in Indian mythology as alive and endowed with human passions and yearnings. The sun, the father of light, who begets all living things upon Mother Earth, the illuminator of the primordial darkness, is life giver as destroyer. The sun is usually male, though it is female among the Juchi, Cherokee, and Eskimos, all of whom regard the moon as male. In the tales of many tribes, the sun makes love to mortal women, sometimes marries, and has offspring by them. The great shining orb is the ultimate fertilizing agent in the universe, usually the embodiment of the male principle, though not necessarily the God at the center of the religion. There may be other chief deities or supernatural phenomena and spirits which represent different powers. Tales depict mortal men and women turning themselves into the morning and evening stars, or even into the moon and taking on lovers and spouses in those guises. In historical times, the only instance of human sacrifice among the Plains tribes occurred among the Skitty Pawnee, who once a year sacrificed a girl captive to the morning star. Representing the evening star, protectress of all growing things, the maiden was painted half red and half black, symbolizing day and night, and ritually shot to death with arrows to send her to her celestial husband. Very old people among the Sioux still tell of ancestors who, participating in a ghost dance in 1890, fell down in a trance, and in that state of unconsciousness, traveled to the morning or evening star, waking up with star flesh or moon flesh in their clenched fists. The creation myth of the Bella Coola relates how the fierce bear of heaven guarded the place of sunrise. At the place of sunset, an immense pillar upheld the sky. The sun's path was a bridge as wide as the distance between the winter, the place where the sun sits down, and summer, where the place where the sun stands up. 3 dancing slaves accompany him on his path, and whenever he drops his torch, an eclipse plunges the earth into darkness. Indian myths, like those in every other culture, grapple with the basic paradoxes at the center of the human world, and certain primal themes emerge, which we in the West have often come to associate with Greek prototypes, even though their evolution has been wholly separate on this continent. Thus, one Northwest Coast myth closely resembles the Helios Phaeton story of ancient Greece. A woman conceives by sitting in the sun's beams, and her son matures in 1 year. He shoots arrows into the sky and climbs up the ladder they form to visit his father. After pestering his father, He is finally permitted to carry the flaming disc along the appointed path, but tottering under his heavy burden, he gets too close to Earth. The oceans boil, the forests catch fire, and everything bursts into flames. The father quickly steps in to assume the load, and the presumptuous boy is turned into a mink. Other themes include Promethean thefts and the Orpheus-like journey to the underworld. In an attempt to defy the finality of death, seen in the story of a Cherokee tribe trying to help a grieving female son return her dead daughter. The son can also be reduced to a small object, stolen from the other side of the world by a trickster or friendly animal to bring light to a tribe living in darkness. Whether they are hunters or planters, people who live close to nature are keen observers of the stars and planets. They study the sky to determine the right time for planting and harvesting, or to discover where to find game at certain times of the year. The prehistoric mound builders of Coyote in what is now eastern Missouri had their own Stonehenge, an astronomical observatory consisting of a circle of upright poles. Among the prehistoric ruins of the Coyote Canyon, or Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, one kiva, a large, partially underground, circular ceremonial chamber, is so large, is constructed that on the day of the summer solstice, and on this day only, a shaft of light shines through a slit in its stone in the wall. From the spiral image of the sun chipped into a rock wall in the southwestern United States, to the plains, Tunguskila, grandfather whose sunbeams impregnated the mother goddess so that she gave birth to gods, humans, and animals alike. The sun plays a radiant role in Indian mythology. He is Shakuru of the Pawnees, who gives health and strength to warriors. He is the Coyote of the Crees, regulating the seasons and determining the time for planting and harvesting. He is the Takas of the North, the personification of joy, clothed in raiments of brilliant cords, whose body shines even in death. He is Tahan of the Tiwa, with his face surrounded by rays of feathers. He is the shining, piercing embodiment of the Sioux, Wakantanka, the great spirit who is in and of everything.
Wow.
So think about the horse and all these other things we've talked about, but the importance of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm with some of the, I think he was Mayan, but he might have been Aztec. Anyway, he was from South America, and that I met him years ago at a powwow up in Tennessee. And he did a sunrise ceremony, and people were like, you know, the white people around was like, and you're worshiping the sun. And he goes, no, we're not worshiping anything. I'm simply here to give thanks that it came up. And that every day that it does, we get up and we say thank you to the sun for coming up to give us nourishment and light and, you know, and all these things that was just read there. And so it's so much more than a worship. It's an honoring of creation, you know, and that the sun, the father of all things, or the mother, depending, but most of the tribes and I hate to use the word religions, but their, you know, their spiritual beliefs was that the sun, because of the rays and coming down, that it was the man, and it was always the moon was the mother goddess kind of thing, Venus. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, so let me pick a.
Yeah, because the sun was important. If the sun didn't come up, the crops didn't grow. The sun, with where it goes in the sky, tells you, you know, what season it is, when it's, you know, like it said, when it's at half, it's the winter months, and when it stands tall, it's the summer. And you know, I mean, you think about it, like the moon comes up and does the same thing every single time once a month. It's always the same, you know, particularly. And but you know, when the sun comes, the sun actually moves in different parts. It doesn't even go so high. Like right now, it's low in the sky because
Right.
it's winter. You know, it doesn't give you as much sunlight because the days are shorter, and that makes everything. You know, like myself, it's like, boy, at 6 o'clock, it's dark outside. I'm like, okay, it's time for bed.
And it's not even the dark, you know, we have to wait until the middle of December before it's the longest night and the shortest day. So, but we're not even there yet. But yeah. So we're going to back up at, to page 119.
All right.
And this is a story called Children of the Sun. So that's why I meant, you know, we were going to kind of back up a little bit, but this just seemed to be appropriate since it's the sun, moon, and stars, right? Anyway,
we're on Tuesday on a Sunday.
A Tuesday on a Sunday.
We're on a Sunday on Tuesday.
Okay. Did you find the page? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, got
Children of the Sun. Osage. All right. Let me get a sip and we'll continue.
Yes, I love this. The sun is really important, though. I gotta admit that is, you know, it's like a clock. It's like the life giver. Without the sun, you know, they say even if you went and lived without the sun for too long of a time, that your body would break down or you'd go kind of insane. Besides that, you get vitamin D from the sun.
Right.
You know?
The body would just start, you know, changing.
Yeah.
I mean, it would change. Yeah. Into what? Well, I'm sure they've done tests, but I don't want to know about it, you know.
Yeah, obviously.
All right. So here we go. Children of the Sun. It's an Osage story. And this myth from Alice Fletcher and Francis Lafleche, who recorded this myth in 1911. Way beyond the earth, a part of the Osage lived in the sky. They wanted to know where they came from, so they went to the sun. He told them that they were his children. Then they wandered still further and came to the moon. She told them that she gave birth to them and that the sun was their father. She said that they must leave the sky and go down to live on earth. They obeyed, but found the earth covered with water. I lost my place. They could not return to their home in the sky, so they wept and called out, but no answer came from anywhere. They floated about in the air, seeking in every direction for help from some god, but they found none. The animals were with them. And of these, the elk inspired all creatures with confidence because he was the finest and most stately. The Osage appealed to the elk for help, and he dropped into the water and began to sink. Then he called out to the winds, and they came from all quarters and blew until the waters went upward in a mist. At first, only rocks were exposed, and the people traveled on the rocky places that produced no plants to eat. Then the waters began to go down until the soft earth was exposed. When this happened, the elk, in his joy, rolled over and over, and all his loose hairs clung to the soil. The hairs grew, and from them sprang beans, corn, potatoes, and wild turnips, and then all the grasses and trees.
Wow.
It's just a simple story, but it's like, what? Okay.
Well, you know, it is a simple story. You know, it's amazing how that elk rolled over and grew all the vegetables that they needed to eat.
Yeah.
No trees, no grass, but it provided all the vegetables.
But the trees and grass came later. I mean, you know, it started out with, I guess, what they needed most, right?
Yeah.
So how are we running on time? Oh, all right.
We're getting there. You got one more story for us tonight? We'll do one more.
All right, yeah. So let's get the other way. And let's go with page 140 at the bottom.
Right.
And since we've been talking about Coyote recently, this story is Coyote Steals the Sun and Moon. And it's not too long, it's 2 pages. Yep. So that ought to be okay.
Yep.
I had a couple of others picked out. We might pick those up later on. But anyway.
Absolutely. I got it up. I got it. I'm ready.
Okay.
Anytime you are. I'm on the ball tonight.
So this is a Zuni story. Coyote Steals the Sun and Moon. And it was based on a story reported by Ruth Benedict in 1935. Day and night, as represented by the sun and moon, are metaphorically associated with summer and winter. Hence, the release of the moon brings death and desolation to the world. Coyote, of course, completely disrupts the seasonal cycle by interfering with the heavenly progression. I'm reading the fine print on page 142, but I thought I'd read this to give a little bit of forth. The Kachinas mentioned were at the time of this story demigods, supernatural intermediaries, mostly benign, who regularly visited the pueblos and established elaborate rituals that included festive dances for the people. Now for the story. Coyote is a bad hunter who never kills anything. Once he watched Eagle hunting rabbits, catching one after another, more rabbits than he could eat. Coyote thought, I'll team up with Eagle so I can have enough meat. Coyote is always up to something. Friend, Coyote said to Eagle, we should hunt together. 2 can catch more than 1. Why not? Eagle said. And so they began to hunt in partnership. Eagle caught many rabbits, but all Coyote caught was some little bugs. At this time, the world was still dark. The sun and moon had not yet been put in the sky. Friend, Coyote said to Eagle, no wonder I can't catch anything. I can't see. Do you know where we can get some light? You're right, friend. There should be some light, Eagle said. I think there's a little towards the west. Let me try and find it. And so they went looking for the sun and the moon. They came to a big river, which Eagle flew over. Coyote swam and swallowed so much water that he almost drowned. He crawled out with his fur full of mud, and Eagle said, why don't you fly like me? Well, you have wings. I just have hair, Coyote said. I can't fly without feathers. At last they came to a pueblo where the Kachinas happened to be dancing. The people invited Eagle and Coyote to sit down and have something to eat while they watched the sacred dances. Seeing the power of the Kachinas, Eagle said, I believe these are the people who have light. Coyote, who'd been looking all around, pointed out 2 boxes, one large and one small, that the people opened whenever they wanted light. To produce a lot of light, they opened the lid of the big box, which contains the sun. For less light, they opened the small box, which held the moon. Coyote nudged Eagle. Friend, did you see that? They have all the light we need in the big box. Let's steal it. You always want to steal and rob. I say we should just borrow it. They won't lend it to us. Well, you may be right, said Eagle. Let's wait till they finish dancing and then steal it. After a while, the Kachinas went home to sleep, and Eagle scooped up a large box and flew off. Coyote ran along trying to keep up, panting, his tongue hanging out. Soon he yelled up to Eagle, "Ho, friend, let me carry the box a little way." "No, no, no," said Eagle. "You never do anything right." He flew on, and Coyote ran after him. After a while, Coyote shouted up again, "Friend, you're my chief, and it's not right for you to carry the box. People will call me lazy. Let me have it." "No, no, no, you always mess everything up." And Eagle flew on, and Coyote ran along. So it went for a stretch, and then Coyote started again. "Ho, friend, it isn't right for you to do this. What will people think of you and me?" "I don't care what people think. I'm going to carry this box," said Eagle. And Eagle flew on, and again Coyote ran after him. Finally, Coyote begged for the fourth time, "Let me carry it. You're the chief, and I'm just Coyote. Let me carry it." Eagle couldn't stand any more pestering. Also, Coyote had asked him 4 times, and if someone asks you 4 times, you better give him what he wants. Eagle said, "Since you won't let up on me, go ahead and carry the box for a while, but promise not to open it." "Oh, sure. Oh, yes, I promise," said Coyote. They went on as before, but now Coyote had the box. Soon Eagle was far ahead and Coyote lagged behind a hill where Eagle couldn't see him. "I wonder what the light looks like inside there," he said to himself. "Why shouldn't I take a peek? Probably there's something extra in the box, something good that Eagle wants to keep to himself." And Coyote opened the lid. Now, not only was the sun inside, but the moon also. Eagle had put them both together, thinking that it would be easier to carry one box than 2. As soon as Coyote opened the lid, the moon escaped, flying high into the sky. At once, all the plants shriveled up and turned brown. Just as quickly, all the leaves fell off the trees, and it was winter. Trying to catch the moon and put it back in the box, Coyote ran into pursuit as it skipped away from him. Meanwhile, the sun flew out and rose into the sky. It drifted far away, and the peaches, squashes, and melons shriveled up with cold. Eagle turned and flew back to see what had delayed Coyote. "You fool, look what you've done. You let the sun and the moon escape. And now it's cold." Indeed, it began to snow, and Coyote shivered. "Now your teeth are chattering," Eagle said, "and it's your fault that cold has come into the world." It's true. If it weren't for Coyote's curiosity and mischief making, we wouldn't have winter. We could enjoy summer all the time. Since it's winter time, I thought that was appropriate.
That
And
is,
it's a Coyote story, so.
I tell you, that was a story with a twist, because I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking he was going to let it go and the sun was going to rise and everything turned green and beautiful and lush and it was summer, and instead it turned to be winter.
Sort of the curse of having light. Coyote brought winter to he brought the cold. So like, what? Yeah, he paid for it, for the theft, you know what I mean? So in that, they may have gotten light but we also got winter. So,
Yeah.
Isn't that, a paradox in the story? Like, yeah, they got away with it, but
yeah, Coyote's always stealing stuff.
You know.
He is quite the mischievous son of a gun. He's like, steal it before. Oh,
Yeah, and so
man.
Eagle's like, the first thing you do is like, all you want to do is rob something or steal it. Coyote's, yeah, but come on, you think that they're really going to let us borrow it?
Yep.
So, but
Oh.
there was that thing that we did in theater, and that it was easier to go ahead and do something and then apologize for it later than it was to get turned down for doing something. Well, why did you do that? Well, we needed to do this and blah 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 blah. It's sometimes it's easier to beg for forgiveness after the fact than get in trouble. But anyway. So,
yeah.
but yeah, what an interesting twist to that, to the idea of Coyote, and but in his mischievousness, and he drug Eagle into it. You know what I mean? He, who's always good and high flying high, and but yeah, drag him into it.
Hey, so with all that, we're doing pretty good. You want to pull a card?
Yes, I kind of have them ready.
I figure I was just feeling it tonight. I was like, we didn't read a card. Well, we did. You kind of pulled one like the horse card because there was a horse card. You read that, but pull a card for us tonight. I think we all need it.
Yeah. And which is interesting because I keep the cards in a plastic bag, and the card that's facing me happens to be the horse card. But that's not the card I'm going to do. But yeah, the idea about the message, for whatever it is that we're doing, and one could say, well, okay, so Hawkeye, what's tonight's message? Is there a message in all of this, right? What's the what's the lesson here? Oh, wise one, And here's the thing is that with all the things that we know now about the sun and what it does, and also, we can get sunburn, and so the sun's always not, and it said right there in the beginning that the sun's the giver, but it's also the destroyer. So it can get too hot or it can disappear, So it's the giver of life, and it's and in a way it's like yin and yang, So it's both things. So, but after all these years and all the legends or whatever, those basic facts are still true. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's not a god, it's not a this, but the sun gives us light. It makes the plants grow. So that's true. So the basic nature of things, I guess. But how we got here, many of the stories, which I think is if we should continue to, consider, is that they come from the stars.
Yep.
We have come from the stars. We have come from the sun. We have come, so there's so many stories that we have come from the stars. And like, seriously? So all this stuff about UFOs or whatever, so many native tribes believe that we have come from somewhere out there other than here, and they firmly believe it, whether it's UFOs or whatever, but they believe we come, the many generations that come from the stars. And I think that before people just say, well, that's a bunch of hooey, they understand that the entire universe is creator, that it's source energy. They understand that the whole universe, that everything is alive. The sun and the moon and the planets all have human attributes. And what's important about this is that they're not just cold, dead objects in space. So, but they worship. Well, worship, you have to be careful how you use that word. The religious folks always call it worship because that's what they do. But in many of the religions, and it's honoring the planets, It's honor Mother Earth. It's to honor the sun. Has nothing to do with worship.
Yeah,
And
honor, or like you were saying earlier, it's to give thanks. You know, thank you, sun, for coming up. Thank you for bringing light. But you don't, you know, worship and say, you know, yeah, you're right. You're thanking, you're giving thanks, and
to
you're
the
being grateful.
universe.
Yes, but you're not worshiping and saying like the religions do, you know, with the, you know, here, you know, you can have my soul for a dime.
Right. Well, see, in the shamans and medicine men that I have met, now I know that there are a lot of different other I say races, but tribes of, you know, that I have not talked to. They have their own way of thinking. But in talking with those folks, though, that I have, like that gentleman from South America, no, we do not worship the sun. We give honor and give thanks. And ain't it pretty, you know? And so the same thing about the moon. Well, you know, anybody that's watched the moon rise, do you actually want to go to war when you see it come up? Or do you want to go sit down and go, wow, that moon sure is pretty tonight? You know, does the moon instill, or does it instill love and peace? You know what I'm saying? So just watching the moon in and of itself, what does it trigger in us? You know, people want to go out and sit and watch the moon, and hey, honey, let's go sit on the porch, or you know what I mean? So, but it isn't, you know, come on, let's go kill our neighbor. The moon's up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but with that, I've pulled 2 cards.
Oh, okay.
And I'll get to them right now. One is number 10. It's turtle, which is interesting because one of the stories I wanted to read was about turtles. So it brought it up anyway. But Turtle Island, and the fact that, you know, many tribes believe that, you know, Mother Earth was a giant turtle. So, and the fact that the creation, the sun, the moon, I think probably turtle's appropriate for this conversation. But anyway, so here's number 10, turtle. Yeah, that one other story I wanted to read was had turtle in it. So they're sneaking in, from my standpoint, they're sneaking turtle in one way or the other.
They're getting a turtle tonight.
It's and here we go, turtle, Mother Earth. How appropriate, honestly.
Yeah.
Turtle, great mother, feed my spirit, clothe my heart, that I may serve you too. In Native American teachings, turtle is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is the personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born of the womb of the earth, and to her soil our bodies will return. In honoring the earth, we are asked by Turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she has given to us. Turtle has a shell which is similar to the protection that Earth has employed for centuries as her body has been defiled. Mother Earth's protection has come in the form of earth changes, new plant growth, the creation of new land masses by volcanoes, and climate alterations. Like turtle, you also have shields that protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. They want me to read that sentence again.
Yep.
Like turtle, you also have shields to protect you from hurt, envy, jealousy, and the unconsciousness of others. Turtle teaches you through its habit patterns how to use protection. If you are bothered by the actions or words of others, it is time to go inside yourself and monitor your and honor your feelings. If you are attacked, it is time to give a warning snap. If you have chosen the turtle symbol, you are being asked to honor the creative source within you, to be grounded to the earth and to observe your situation with motherly compassion. Use the water and earth energies, which represent turtles' two homes, to flow harmoniously with your situation and to place your feet firmly on the ground in a power stance. Turtle is a fine teacher of the art of grounding. You may even be able to overcome some of your space cadet tendencies if you align with turtle medicine. In learning to ground yourself, you are placing focus on your thoughts and actions and slowing to a pace that assumes and assures completion. Turtle warns of the dangers of pushing the river, as evidenced by the plodding pace that turtle keeps. The corn that is harvested before its time is not yet full. However, if it is given the chance to develop at its own rate, in its own season, its sweetness will be shared by all. Turtle buries its thoughts like its eggs in the sand and allows the sun to hatch the little ones. This teaches you to develop your ideas before bringing them out into the light. Look at the old fable of the tortoise and the hare and decide for yourself whether or not you would like to align with turtle. Bigger, stronger, and faster are not always the best ways to get to a goal. When you arrive, you may be asked where you've been, and you may not be able to remember. In that case, arriving prematurely can make you feel very immature. If you draw the turtle card, it augurs a time of connecting with the power of earth and the mother goddess within. This is a reminder of the ally you have in Mother Earth. It does not matter what situation you have created. Ask for assistance and abundance will follow. Now, that ain't a bad message, is it? And turtle was right side up too, by the way. It wasn't upside down. Now, the other card is possum, and there's a part of possum that they both kind of hide and go inside. And anyway, turtle plays dead. I'm sorry, possum plays dead, but it's number 23. So almost went straight to the page. Diversion. Possum, roll over. Are you really dead? Or just playing possum? Was it something I said? A possum's greatest form of protection is to play dead. In doing this, the opossum confuses many a predator into believing that the game is over. Oftentimes, the confused rival walks away or looks the other direction for a moment, and possum runs to safety. Possum medicine uses a great deal of strategy. If all else fails, possum plays dead. It has the ability to fight with its claws and teeth, but it rarely uses this form of protection. Instead, the supreme strategy of diversion is constantly employed when things get a little too hard to handle. Possum has developed an act that would receive an Academy Award in the animal kingdom. The musk of the death scent is excreted at will, adding to the master play that sends enemies on many trails of confusion. If possum is turned up on your cards, you are being asked to use strategy in some present situation. Rely upon your instincts for the best way out of a tight corner. If you have to pretend to be apathetic or unafraid, do it. Oftentimes, if you refuse to struggle or show that hurtful words bother you, your taunter will see no further fun in the game. They want me to stress this. If possum is turned up in your cards, you're being asked to use strategy in some present situation. So for all of us, every one of us is being presented with different situations almost on a daily basis. So oftentimes, if you refuse to struggle or show that hurtful words bother you, your taunter, the bully, will see no further fun in the game. Warriors have used possum medicine for centuries, playing dead when the enemy nears and outnumbers them. Then in a flash, When the enemy is least expecting it, the war cry is heard, and up they jump. Possum may be relying to you that you are to expect the unexpected and be clever in achieving your victory. This could be a victory over a bothersome salesman or a nosy neighbor. In essence, Possum is beckoning you to use your brain in a sense of drama and surprise. Leap over some barrier to achieve your progress. Use your brain. But, Turtle, ground with Mother Earth, and Possum is saying, use your brain in whatever situation it might be. Or it may just be, warning you to, don't be apathetic, to use your brain more. So, but anyway, so were they appropriate?
Yes, I sure do believe they are.
I'm so far, I think we, I'm not bragging by any means, because I just have to stop and listen, and they go, nah, we want you to, y'all pay attention to this. This is part, all this other stuff about whatever the animal card is kind of fluff to particular sentences,
Yep.
And so whatever it is you're doing, use your brain, and if you're feeling loose and froggy and being a space cadet, then ask Mother Earth and think of turtle and turtle medicine and ground yourself. That's always good medicine, to use that term. So, and it gives honor to the universe. To remember this, we are all space beings, okay? Meaning that we take up space, we are a part of space, we are space cadets in that we have traveled, probably many of us, through many light years in existences we just don't remember. And if not, there are many of us that have future, adventures ahead of us, which is what I'm kind of looking forward to. Not anytime soon, mind you, but I'm looking, being the adventurer, but what else is out there in the universe? Come on, gang, let's quit being so short-sighted on these things and honor the universe. Every single atom that we are, our souls, our spirit, we are a part of the universe. And native peoples understood this. Shamans in their teachings and so forth stress it, that we are a part of everything. All the rocks and the trees, that's why I started off with that bit about, the rocks and the trees and the plants all have energy, all have personalities. And when we give honor to those things, we're giving honor to the universe. It's not any particular God. We're sharing our energies together and we're giving them back to the universe in an honorable way. There is no worship, but
exactly. And that's the thing, is we're so used to getting and taking. Sometimes you got to give back, and giving back to the universe isn't about money, and we're also focused on money all the time. Giving thanks and gratitude is a big part of something you can do for free, because the Indians didn't have money to exchange, did they?
No, everything was barter.
Bartered. And so
they had to make it, break, hunt it down, skin it, cook it, okay.
Yeah, so there wasn't like, I'm going to give a big donation to the great God above. Here's my $50. It's, what can I give? But honor and gratitude.
And one of the simplest things to do is just to go outside, even if you got to wear shoes. It's okay. It's wintertime, I know. But to just go outside and hold your hands up and just look at the universe and just say, thank you. It's as simple as that. Just go outside, look up and just say, thank you. Nothing totally in particular, agree. But to everything, just say thank you.
I totally
it's that
agree.
Easy.
Yeah. How easy and free and cheap is that? To give gratitude and thankfulness to the universe around you.
Yep.
So I think we should should call it good with that. And everybody go out and give some gratitude. Remember, if you want this book, let me know. Send me an email, and that could be yours. I'll mail it out as soon as I can. We're going to have another great show on Thursday. And David Null, you're going to be on tonight later on.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm going to take a quick break, and about 11:45 or so ish. Got a show planned, and it's about group intent, which we kind of sort of talked about that a little bit tonight, but it's to me, I think it's an important discussion we need to have. I really do. I don't normally say that kind of thing, but this is kind of sort of important. I've been watching for a while, and I got some more information that I think we ought to pay attention to. So anyway.
Great.
Thank you all. We love you.
Yes, we do.
And we continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Thank you all. We love you. Cheers, everybody.
Everybody, there we go. When I do that, I always go like this, and then I go, oh shoot, it should be over here. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Peace. Be the frequency you want to receive. I love y'all. See you next time. See you on Thursday.
Cheers.
Thursday. We'll see you Thursday.
Cheers.